useful in society.
Yes, yes, and yes, that's very important. And the University Without Walls, I've been a member of the Association for World Education, and have been concerned with issues that have been raised, particularly connecting pacifism with world education and resistance, more specifically. The tradition of civil disobedience and the tradition of what might be called radical pacifism at this point as a key to addressing the most serious questions of knowledge and education in the 20th century. That the classroom, it doesn't stop at the door, or stop at the tuition, or stop at what it often turns out, with who it is that gives the money to the college. And it's important that knowledge and education be seen in that context, and at this point, and that's the issue that I've tried to address myself to in the last couple of years.
Were you living at Jonah House at the time of the GE action?
No, I live in New York City. I'm part of the Kairos community, the Jonah House, and the Brandywine Peace Community, the Kairos Peace Community, the Atlantis Community in Boston, the Covenant Peace Community in Hartford, Connecticut, are all parts of the Atlantic Life community, and we live in various parts of the East Coast and come together for actions and meetings. But I didn't live specifically in community, and I did live in New York, but I was not in a living community at that point. Many of us in the Kairos community in New York gather for actions and are part of individual communities, but come together for our actions and for our witness at Riverside Research as a weekly witness and things.
And I'd like to know how one who is as totally committed as you lives day to day. How do you support yourself?
Well, I've taken what jobs I can, small, short-term, temporary jobs. Some years ago, was very fortunate to work with with a theater workshop in a Upward Bound program, in Bridge Upward Bound in Roxbury, Massachusetts. I had the good fortune to be able to be on the staff of Bridge for some time, and directed some workshops, theater workshops, and some productions. I've done some what might be called freelance things from time to time, but mostly my jobs have been very simple, requiring just some time and effort. When I lived in Maine, I took a construction job for a short time and worked for a period of days, temporary work. I worked in doing typing. I've worked doing one thing or another that pays enough money to get by on, and with some help from friends and sharing in community, and doing things together and thinking in terms of mutual needs. We manage to help each other and get by, and I think that what is most important is that as groups of people that are getting together in resistance start to address these questions together, that priorities become assessed in a way that it's possible to see that you don't really live by bread alone. You live, you eat somewhat. You don't eat as much some days as you do others. But what's important is that you find a certain focus, and then other things fall into line. I've been very lucky. I get the thing, if it looks like that there isn't anything ahead. Sometimes things just work out so that there's always enough. But what I think is the important thing is that if the most important things come first, then the secondary things are seen as secondary, and that it can move in that way. I don't know whether that's a very good answer for your question or not, but I think there's something else to that. I should say. Don't mean to ramble on quite as long at length on that, but as a culture, there's a tendency, particularly for Americans, to have tremendous anxieties over property and money. That is, the whole gimmick, in some sense, of the military-industrial complex is to be said, well, above all, at least you have security. And security spells out into all of these things like insurance, pensions, the protected home in the suburbs, the this, that, and the other thing that become part and parcel of what is in fact a military mind and a mind of materialism, and that the bottom line really becomes the bomb in this context. That is, the bomb forms the basis of the insurance companies and the basis of the of private property, the basis of this obsession with not just wealth per se, but a certain vision of security and of a self-image that takes that is sort of defined in terms of property. And I think these anxieties are part and parcel of what some of the most serious problems are, simply because the excuse that the multinational gives to the people who say might decide, well, I can't work for this company anymore, or I don't want to hold stock in this company, or I don't want to be part of nuclear genocide. The whole come on is that look what we give you, look what we make possible for your life. GE brings good things to life. You see, this whole strange lie that isn't really. It's such a subtle lie and such an insidious lie that it's seen generally as a truth. It's seen as the truth of how one can live, how one could and should live one's life in this culture, and yet here that the whole acceptance of that security within private property and that whole obsession with the money game is the very thing that is blinding people in many cases to the most serious and most cutting and deep issues of our time. Yes, I am. In fact, I'm almost an hour behind.
I'm committed to taking you wherever you want to go.